Hey, welcome back, troops. How we doing for sound? Give me a quick thumbs up in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Nearly got 100 viewers already. Make sure you smash that like button very early on so we can get some traction on the video. And then once we get enough numbers, we'll get started, guys. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a few days since we last spoke. It's been a few days, guys. Hear me loud and clear? Yeah, good stuff. We've got a few members coming in already. Nice to see you guys. We've been quiet for a few days, but we're back. Over 100 viewers at the moment within a few seconds. That's good for me. Okay, troops, if we can get 100 likes, that would be great. And let me know in the comment where you're watching from and if you can hear me good. That would be absolutely great. And then we'll get started in a little while. If the audio is a little bit low, that's probably because I'm talking a little bit quiet, but it's as loud as it can be my end in terms of turning it up. But that's because it's pretty late here. It's like 11:15. So we got loads of people watching from, actually quite a few people from America, quite a few people from the United Kingdom. Anyone from the United Kingdom, drop a thumbs up, man. Okay, troops, let's get to 100 likes and we'll be good to go. Loud enough yet? Did we having a few? Are we okay now? I think we froze a little bit then. Stream status poor. I don't know why it's doing this. It did this before, didn't it? I think. No, I think we're good. We're all right. Yeah, troops. Okay, let's see if we can get over 100 likes, and then we'll get started with this. Right, we need to change the latency on this, I think that's what's happening. I'm just going to get the stream up on my phone, actually, just so I can see how the quality is. I'm not too sure why it's doing the old buffering, but it was doing that before. Yeah, troops, over 100 likes. That's pretty good for me. Stream looks okay on my phone, actually, so I think we'll get going. We've got quite a few things that we want to talk tonight, and I think with us having a few days off, it's going to be pretty good for everyone watching. Right, why am I buffering? Yeah, not sure why it's buffering, guys. Yeah, I have been reading that YouTube's been not so good in terms of the quality of recent, so I don't think it's anything my side. Semper Fi to my Royal Marine brother. Hey, Gunny Boone, good to see you, man. Okay, troops, how many we got? 154 viewers. That's good for me. That's good for me. Let's get started. Yeah, let's get started. Hopefully YouTube sorts itself out and stops buffering. Right, let's see if I can. I'm just going to see if I can sort something out. 2 seconds. Ding, 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 ding. Right, there we go. Let's see if that works. All right, I'm just trying to figure out why the bit rate is low, guys. Once I can sort that out, I'll try. Okay. Think it's okay now. Not dropping any frames. Right, 2 seconds, troops. We'll get right into this. Streaming bitrate. Yeah, bitrate's cool. Bitrate's like 6,000. I don't know why it's doing that. Bitrate looks good to me. Right, so this is how we normally go then, guys. Dad's Midnight Creation. I've literally got probably one of the best internets you can have in the United Kingdom. To be fair, I pay a lot of money for it. So it's not the internet, mate. It's the bitrate. I'm not too sure why. It says YouTube's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. It hasn't done. It's done that once before. We'll crack on, guys. If it's bad quality, just let us know in the chat, guys. Okay. Right, so that's that. Let's get over to the live scene. Right, what you do then, troops, is how we normally run this. If you're brand new to the channel, make sure you smash the like button early on. It saves me having to ask the question all the time. It helps out. Okay, so I'll go over it every like 15-20 minutes or so if I forget a little bit later. But if you could smash the like button early on, it just helps the video reach a new audience. Okay. And that's that. Super chats will be prioritized as always on these live streams, okay? Because as you can see, we get so many different comments and stuff like that. I think it's the fairest way to do it. Not all the time, but most of the time, that's how we do it anyway. And what else? Yeah, the link to become a member is above you guys. We've got quite a few members now, which is really good. So yeah, that would help me out, guys. And if you are a member and you've came back to the channel, thank you guys for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. But 169 likes, 200 views, that's good enough for me to get started. And that's that. Right, let's get into it. So I haven't looked at this map for a few days, to be fair. I've stayed off the internet. I haven't really read the news too much. I've done that on purpose, really, just to... Sometimes when this kind of news comes flooding in every single day, it can do your head in a little bit, I think. It's good to have a break from it as well for your own mental health, because I think putting negative news into your brain, even though we're reacting to this and we're giving updates on the news and stuff like that about what's going on, it can get you down, man. So I think, you know, it's healthy to have a break from this kind of news every now and again. Hence, I've had a bit of a break from it. So that's that. And we've got a first super chat coming in from Utah Steve. Thank you for that, brother. I appreciated what you're saying. You're saying always love supporting the fine UK veterans. Well, thank you very much, my friend. It really does go a longer way than you think. Okay, so I appreciate that. Thank you, brother. But make sure next time, if you want to put a question in there, we can get the debate flowing. That's how we normally do it anyway, guys. If you want to ask a question, obviously pop it in when you're putting a super chat. If you want to ask a question that makes perfect sense, get more for your money, and then we can open up the topic of debate a little bit further, okay? It's not just me who's going to be talking about things. So 234 viewers, nearly 200 likes. Let's go. So let's look over. Well, we always look over the east because that's obviously the region that's been absolutely hammered. We've got Poland to the west. Obviously, this region here, by default of being on the border to Poland, isn't looking too busy I was expecting it to be a little bit busier than that in terms of the refugee crisis that's going on. I think there would have been a few, I don't know, I thought there would have been some things happen in there just to, I don't know, lower the morale of the people. That's what I would have expected from Russia in terms of they know there's going to be loads of people fleeing there. But we hope it's not looking too busy over there, to be fair. I mean, the only thing we've got going on, well, actually 6 hours ago, 9 killed, 9 wounded as a result of an airstrike on the TV tower in Ravine region this morning. Let's have a look at this. Okay, so the TV tower here, obviously they're wanting to cut down all the news and stuff like that. That obviously helps with, you know, every country has a narrative, so to speak. All right, 2 seconds, guys. I just need to hide someone. What I'm going to do, troops, okay, is if I personally see anything in the chat that is, you can have an opinion. Opinion's fine, but if I see anything like hateful in the chat, you're getting blocked. All right, I don't care. I'll block you, no problem. Simple as that. I've got no problems blocking you and hiding you from the channel. So you might think that you're still commenting, people are seeing your chat, but I'll hide you. I just want to say that this channel does not condone any hatred towards both sides. All right, I'm not here to stick up for one side or the other. We're pretty neutral in that respect. We're just here to give open up a topic of debate and talk about it. Okay, if I see any hatred in the chat for any group of people, man, I'll block the hell out of you. Simple as that. Kevin Shields, hey buddy, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by again, mate. You've been here a few times. You're saying, how many contractors do you think are getting inserted through the Ukraine Foreign Legion right now? So I think that obviously there's a lot of private contractors, mercenaries who's just thought let's go put up a bit of a fight. Work's probably been a little bit quieter with regards to Afghanistan, and in fact I know it's quieter. I had friends out there working as private contractors, and the work's It's quietened up in a lot of ways. Obviously, it's a lot more dangerous out there now, and stuff like that. The Middle East in general kind of quietened up for the private contractors. So I think this is a way through. I think there's a lot of money to be made through the private contractors. The Ukraine Foreign Legion will have a lot of skilled individuals. Will also have a lot of unskilled individuals there as well. So I do think it's a way of getting trained men in. Yeah, trained men and women, I should say. There'll be men and women fighting on the front lines over there. Yeah, so I think that's the thing. We might not have intervention from, you know, the United Nations or NATO, sorry. We might not have intervention direct from, you know, Britain, France, Germany, but we've got indirect intervention from all of those countries. And obviously we've had indirect intervention for a long time with the United States literally arming the Ukraine. Now, you can have your opinion on that either way. In fact, let's open that topic of debate. Has the fact that the United States of America has been arming Ukraine directly, indirectly, you make that up yourself. What do you think about that? Is that something that's prompted Putin to do what he's doing right now? I mean, we're seeing the knife edge right now, but this has been going on since about 2014-ish, obviously, give or take a few years. Yeah, I think it's probably pushed him a little bit further than people think, okay? And obviously we're only going to get one side of the news, aren't we, as well? So yeah, in that region we got 9 killed, 9 wounded as a result of an airstrike on TV tower in Ravine region this morning. That's quite devastating. I'll be honest with you, when we were doing these live map updates last week, a lot of the collateral damage photos were, to me, obviously they were bad. People were losing their lives and stuff like that, but they didn't look as bad as this. All right, so the pictures that are coming out now are quite bad. Like it looks quite devastating. I mean, this looks devastating. It was devastating. 9 killed, 9 wounded. So that's there. That's quite an isolated instance for that region because there's not much going on there, as you can see. The nearest thing that's going on is red alert, aerial threat, siren sounding, take cover. So that was an hour ago. We've obviously seen further to the west there was an actual strike. So, I mean, how far are we talking there in terms of distance? 30, 60, about 120 kilometers. About 70 miles there. So it's not massively different. 12 hours ago in the village of Kiev region, 2 houses and a shop were destroyed by an airstrike. So airstrikes are coming in thick and fast. That's pretty horrendous what's going on there. A village, 2 houses and a shop. This is the problem we have here. We've got, I mean, it's a problem we have in war in general. We've got collateral damage affecting the locals. This is the sort of thing that really, really puts people off on both sides. I've found that, you know, throughout the years, as years go on, people become less kind of apt for war, less in, especially social media. Social media shows everything now. All right, we get a bigger picture. We get more information in to make our own minds up on what we think with war. And I don't think, holistically speaking, people want war. All right, and whenever we see collateral damage where people, innocents, are losing their lives on a day-to-day basis, we realize more so just how pointless it is for, you know, we're funding the corrupt elite, aren't we, effectively. I've seen something on the news this morning about the people who is linked with Putin who own millions and millions of pounds worth of property in London. And it's like, really, we have one thing to say about them in a negative way, but meanwhile the elites are allowing them to own property on our doorstep. Yeah, it's a crazy world we live in, man. Hey, Kevin Shields again with the super chat. Thank you, brother. What are you saying? You'll say, I think the whole strategy is to drag Putin into an extended counterinsurgency campaign in the Ukraine and drain him to death. That's why they get javelins but not jets. I heard if you have CI experience, you can make some money. Counterintelligence, I'm guessing you mean in there. You know, I've never thought about the bigger picture in terms of strategy. What's in it for everyone else? We're only looking at what's potentially in it for Putin or what's not in it. So that's a pretty good point you make there. If we can keep him contained in one region, albeit the Ukraine's a big place, if we can keep him contained there and drag it out, I see what you mean, draining him out. I mean, we just have to look at if we can keep this. If we've poked the rod and we've getting reaction, he's invaded the Ukraine. That's immediate reasons for most of the world to sanction Russia and Putin, which is bad anyway. All right, that alone eventually will ruin Russia. All right, or put them economically at a huge disadvantage compared to the rest of the world. So that alone's going to slowly, effectively kill the Russian economy. If we can put them into a region, i.e. Ukraine, and let them fight, like you say, they're going to use all of their resources and stuff. And it makes sense to give them javelins but not jets. Why? Because javelins on the ground are very, very effective. I think that's a good point you made there, Kevin Shields. What do you guys think about that as a counter-argument to Kevin Shields' comment there? Thank you for that, buddy. Uni Gaming, thank you for your super chat. You're saying, I've read that Putin may be bracing for a coup. I think that should have been on his mind early on. Actually, I think that should be. I would have assumed that that's been a potential for a long, long time. Do the Russians even want it? We see one side of the story, but are we seeing the whole side of the story? Do Russians in general want this war? I'm going to make a guess and say no. That's what I would guess. You know, I just don't think people anywhere want this. You know. Hey, we've got over 400 viewers. Thank you guys for stopping by. If you're brand new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you don't mind subscribing, if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate that. We do this most evenings, okay? Sometimes we have a good run and try and do it every night. We've been off for the past 4 nights or so, I think, 3 nights, but we're back, guys. So if you're brand new to the channel, smash that like button. Let's see if we can get over 300 likes in the chat. It helps us out more than you think, guys. But welcome to the channel. I'm missing some of the super chats here. Victor Gruel, hey buddy, good to see you again, man. All is well, my friend. Thanks for stopping by again, brother. What are you saying? Hope all is well, Ryan. Heard China is considering helping Russia with money and weapons. Wow. I mean, we've kind of forgot about China the past few days. In fact, let's look that up. Let's look that up. Ooh, the Mirror. This is interesting, this one. So this is the Mirror. It is updated today. Russia begs China for weapons and help after suffering losses invading Ukraine. Now, you don't know how heavily we should believe this, but let's just go with the narrative on this one. It says the US has warned China that it would absolutely face consequences if it helped Russian President Vladimir Putin evade sweeping sanctions over the invasion of Ukraine. Well, the US can warn all they want, but that would be catastrophic, guys, if that happened, if they intervened and all hell's going to break loose. That's horrendous for everyone, man. Thank you for that, Victor. Let's talk about China. Let's talk about them. Thank you, buddy. Utar Steve, thank you again for the super chat, brother. You're saying Putin may be evil, but he's not stupid. I absolutely agree. He's a very, very intelligent man and academically devious as well, okay? That's one thing, that if you've got a little bit of evil intent, not much, just a little bit, but you've got that intellect, you can go a long way. And he has gone a long way. He's proved it. His resume, his CV is fantastic. You can't deny that. You also saying he's got everyone looking one way while he's doing something else that nobody had recognized. It's my opinion that all the world leaders are going to get caught sleeping on this. In what way though, Steve? In what way? I hear what you're saying, but in what way are they going to get caught sleeping on this? Are you saying he's got an alternate agenda other than the Ukraine? Are you saying things could go completely the other way? What else is he planning? That's an interesting point you make. That's an interesting point. Let's talk about that. Kevin Shields again with the super chat. Thank you. You're saying we did it once in Afghan, worked pretty well until UBL bit us in the ass. I think the big whips figure it will work again here. Good point, Kevin. Thank you for your super chat, brother. I appreciate it, man. CP Explorer, and I think I've spotted you before on the channel. Welcome back, man. You're saying happy to finally make a live. Much love from Wisconsin. Well, welcome to the channel, brother. I appreciate you coming over here. It's great to have you. Boom. Let's put that scene on for this. It's good to have you here, dude. Leon Yoda, how you doing, brother? thank you for your super chat. You're saying, how do you think Putin would react if the US would put a large bounty on his head? Say a bounty of $100 billion US. Thanks for the stream. Well, first and foremost, thank you for joining the stream. I appreciate it. Ooh, all right, let's try and think of that question. How do you think Putin would react if the US would put a large bounty on his head? I don't think he'd be bothered. I think he's, historically, probably, unbeknown to most people, had bounties on his head most of his life. He's put himself if you think about the type of job that he was doing, working for, the intelligence services and stuff like that, them jobs are very, very, very risky indeed. So he's a product of being able to adapt and overcome that early on. He's getting over that fact years ago. So I don't think he's losing any sleep over those types of things now. And let's face it, it would have to be an official military taken out, if that makes sense, because unofficially, no one's getting 100 billion. And two, you'd need 100 billion to hide thereafter. No one's going to come out. I mean, you wouldn't be able to live a normal life after that at all. It would be 100. Yeah, I just don't think it's realistic that people would do that. It would have to be almost official, if that makes sense. I don't know. I don't think he would. But in terms of how he would react, I don't think it would bother him in the slightest. Personally, what do you guys think? It's an interesting one, that. Again, if I miss any if I miss any super chats, guys, please try and let me know. Brandon TKO, thanks for your super chat. You're saying China has liquefied overall assets of 93% plus, that we can easily choke and destroy China much faster than we did Russia. China has liquefied overall. Yeah, in terms of, I think sanctions on China could be. I mean, this is one thing we forget. We talk about superpowers and we look and go, you've got to look at what they provide, who they provide it to, and what would happen if we stopped accessing that market. Okay, so if we look at, Russia provides oil, okay, gas, whatever you want to call it, fuel. That's a big one. You've got to have a pretty good plan outside of that to be able to, let's just say you put sanctions on Russia, Russia stops giving you fuel. What are you going to do? You have to have a plan beyond that, i.e. a plan to have fuel, okay, elsewhere. So that's an obvious one that's been taken care of, hence the reason prices have went up. We're getting fuel from alternate sources. We're maybe tapping into reserves and stuff like that. I'm not too sure, but we've got that ticked, that box ticked, okay? Wouldn't have went in and given them sanctions if we knew that, well, once we starve them with their sanctions, they're going to take our fuel off us, and if we couldn't sustain ourselves, the sanctions wouldn't have came. So it's a power hand that Russia could have played, but obviously they haven't been successful because fuel is coming in from other alternate means. So that's that, okay? China, on the other hand, yeah, they give a lot of goods, they do a lot of manufacturing for a lot of businesses, but it's stuff that, generally speaking, and I am generalizing here, generally most of the stuff is for the consumer market, which, the world can just create elsewhere, albeit for a different price. But, once they turn them taps off, China doesn't really have an economy in that respect. Does that make sense? It does, but I get what you're saying. Russia has a more powerful... If we can turn the taps off for Russia, we can do it definitely for China, because I think as a commodity, Russia has a better one, if that makes sense. Better pulling power, and it hasn't worked still. So, yeah, I don't think China would last as long, if that makes sense. I think you're right there, Brandon. Dan Aiello. Hopefully I've pronounced your name right there, brother. Sorry. You're saying, hey there, troops love this channel. Well, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that, buddy. Good to see you here. Next time, put a question in there, man. Let's hear some quezzies. Right, where are we at? Next super chat is from Leon Yoda again. Thank you, brother, for your super chat. It's very kind of you. You're saying the idea would be to tempt one of Putin's closest confidants to collect the bounty, etc. But yeah, I agree. It's unlikely to ever happen. It is unlikely to ever happen, man. Yeah, period. I just don't see it happening. Is it necessary? Is it necessary? I know that might seem like an obvious one. People might think, well, of course it's necessary. But is it necessary? That's an interesting one, guys. I'm not too sure. Vitalik Nazaruk. I've spoke to you before, buddy. Good to see you here again. You're saying the gas station will be divided soon. Oh, man, gas prices, fuel prices, petrol, diesel has went through the roof. It was already expensive in the United Kingdom, guys. At 150-ish, £1.50-ish per litre. It's like 180 now. Higher in some places, but I paid about 179, 180, I think, today. Which is bloody expensive, you know. My mode of transport, I've got a camper van. It costs like 120, 130 quid now to fuel that bloody thing, to fill the tank. And I'm getting like 350 mile, 400 mile out of it. It's not a lot at all for that kind of money. So it's that, as well as gas prices to fuel our home. Electricity's went through the roof. It's just bloody outrageous, man. I pity those who struggle anywhere. Do you know what I mean? There's people who struggle drastically anywhere. I don't see how things are going to suddenly get better. There's going to be a lot of people becoming homeless and stuff, I think. Well, that might sound pretty far-fetched, but a lot of people, how are they going to pay the bills? I don't know. Utah Steve again, thank you, brother, with the super chat. Appreciate you being here, man. You're saying here's every world leader and news channel looking at Ukraine right now. Nobody is paying attention to what's going on in Pakistan. Afghanistan, Syria, or others that hate the West and have the ability to work with China too. That's interesting. So what you were saying or implying is, do you think that's his intent? Do you think his intent is to put up a smoke screen, so to speak? I mean, if it's a smoke screen, it's a bloody expensive one and costly one to his economy. You know? What do you think about that, Utah? Kevin Shields, thank you for your super chat. You're saying, do you think there's a fuel price where there's Western public just wants the sanctions to end? So if I'm understanding your question right, Kevin, are you saying once the price gets above a certain amount, will the public then be like, hey, just don't sanction Russia anymore? Because sanctions on Russia are effectively affecting us. So there's no one not a sufferer of this, and loads of people in higher places who can benefit from these sanctions. That's an interesting one, that, actually. I've never thought about that. Sanctions on Russia are actually negatively impacting everyone else. It's crazy. I never actually thought about that. Yeah, I think I think it's close to that now, Kevin, actually. I think we want the fuel prices to go back down, and if people recognized that the sanctions on Russia are actually affecting them and their lives here, they'd probably speak, because people change teams in a heartbeat. We pretend we have loyal, patriotic people within our countries, but when push comes to shove, they'll change sides in a heartbeat if it's got their interests. Trust me on that. Like 80-90% of people will change sides if it meant they can financially gain from it, or you know, it's just how human nature is. We're all for the cause until it affects us, and then people will change in a heartbeat, man. What do you think about that? That's, again, guys, it's just opinions on this channel, but I don't know, that's what I think. Hey, 537 concurrent viewers, troops, welcome to the channel. If you can, everyone just take 2 seconds to press that like button. It takes literally 2 seconds to do. It costs you nothing, and it actually is the most impactful thing you can do for the channel. So I can't emphasize that enough. If you hit the like button, it would make my night. Thank you, guys. Let's get over 400 likes. We can do that. There's well over 500 people in the chat, so we've definitely got the ability to get over 400 likes. Yeah. But thank you, troops. We're getting over 400 likes. I appreciate that, man. Let's see if we can get close to 500 dudes and dudettes. Special welcome to the members. If there's any members in the chat, how are you doing, guys? I've just seen a few there. Joe French, how you doing, buddy? And thanks, Donna Backer, for moderating the chat, brother. I appreciate it. If you do want to become a member, get that little member logo next to your name, then the link is in the description, guys, of the chat. It's that little thing that I've pinned to the chat. So if you click on that, you're more than welcome to join the club. Who's going to be the first member of the stream? Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Right, back to this anyway. Back to this. So, in terms of Russia begging China for weapons and help after suffering losses invading Ukraine, that seems a little bit like the media trying to portray them poorly, but there might be some substance behind this. Let's see if there is actually. So let's read this article. Apparently, Russia has asked China for weapons and aid in its invasion of Ukraine after suffering huge losses, the United States has claimed. Do we believe that, guys? What do you think about that? The United States National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, who is due to meet with China's top diplomat Yang Jiechi in Rome on Monday, warned Beijing that it would absolutely face consequences if it helped Moscow evade sweeping sanctions over the war in Ukraine. Okay. Kevin Shields, again, thank you, brother, with the super chat. You're saying gas is already about to hit $6 here in Cali. $6 per litre. I can't. What? $6 per litre? Because you guys use different metrics and stuff, so what is that? $6 per litre? People can't afford to live here already. You guys in Europe use even more Russian petrol than us. I don't think this can last forever. Well, it can't last forever, and there has to be a backup plan. I would like to think that there's people in higher places thinking of this already. I would like to think that. Do you know what I mean? I just can't see them putting these sanctions on without really giving it proper good thought first. I don't know. Maybe I'm naive. Thank you for that, Kevin. But can you clarify, is that $6 a litre? Because if so, that's bloody humongous. Hey, Grey Squirrel 87, you are the first member of the chat. Welcome to the Gendit Members Club, brother. I look forward to speaking to you post-stream in some community posts that we put on every now and again, orientated around the members. We might even do a few members-only videos very, very soon, but thank you for becoming a member and supporting the channel that little bit more. I appreciate that, Grey Squirrel. Cool name as well, dude. Right, the next. So, Russian President Vladimir Putin has turned to China asking for military equipment, sparking concern in the White House that Beijing may be undermining Western efforts to help Ukrainian forces defend their country, US officials said. Asked about the reports, Liu Pengyu, spokesperson for China's embassy in Washington, said, "I've never heard of that." Okay. He said China found the current situation in Ukraine disconcerting and added, "We support and encourage all efforts that are conducive to a peaceful settlement of the crisis." Liu said, Utmost efforts should be made to support Russia and Ukraine in carrying forward negotiations despite the difficult situation to produce a peaceful outcome. So I agree with that. It says utmost efforts should be made to support Russia and Ukraine in carrying forward negotiations despite the difficult situations. So it's been very neutral there. Whether the intention behind that neutrality is genuine, I guess time will tell. But in terms of what it says, it seems quite neutral. Kevin Shields says, no, we measure gas in gallons, and yeah, the plan is to go Saudi Arabia. Yeah, Saudi's fuel. So I'm just trying to think, $6 a gallon. How many litres in a gallon? I don't even know, guys. It's probably on par with what we pay now then, if that's the case, Kevin. So, yeah, it's suck it up, buttercup. That's what we've been paying all along. Hey, J340 with the massive super chat. Thank you, brother. You're saying the backup plan for petroleum and natural gas is Norway. Legit Norway can supply Europe. I didn't know that. So maybe it's not a backup plan. Maybe it's just a plan and they're implementing that plan. Have we thought about that? You know, we can't be too surprised nowadays about these things. They're about, well, how far would countries go to get a point across or something as such, or to make a big change? I think they'd go as far as war. We've seen that time and time again, you know. Unigaming, thank you for your super chat, brother. You're saying $6 per gallon. So $1.59 per litre, 122. So 122 GPD. Russia is so it's. I mean, I remember when I was in America, it was so damn cheap. We filled up a Mustang. This thing was like 450 brake or something. It was a fast Mustang we hired in Vegas to drive to San Diego when I was on a military trip with the Royal Marines. It was the best trip of my life. And we filled this thing up for like $20, $25, something ridiculous. And we couldn't believe it, man. We're like, how have we filled this machine up on that? It was more expensive to eat. You know? That's still pretty cheap, but for US, that's dear for the United States. What else are you saying? Russia is struggling with equipment, so I believe they are seeking help. It's $4.99, the only membership option. Yes, it is Unigaming. So we used to have like loads of different membership tiers for different prices, but quite simply, I couldn't provide much for the differences, and I was like, well, I felt as if, although we had loads more members back then, I just couldn't provide anything tangible for that extra amount of money. So what I did is I just reduced it down, and I cancelled the memberships, refunded all the money back in a hope to just be more transparent. And the membership now that we have is merely a support membership, where if you guys want to be a member to support the channel, then that's fantastic. But I didn't want to take anything more from people to not really give anything back in return. I didn't feel comfortable with that. Does that make sense? So we did have different membership options, and I just got rid of them. But thanks for your question, buddy. I appreciate that. 490 likes, troops. Let's see if we can surpass the concurrent viewers. Let's see if we can get 500 odd likes. Where was I at on this? Right. Sullivan told CNN on Sunday that Washington believed China was aware that Russia was planning some action in the Ukraine before the invasion took place, although Beijing may not have understood the full extent of what was planned. China was aware that Russia was planning some action. Well, let's face it, England, the US, a lot of people were under the no illusion that this was going to happen. So I think the intelligence came from America that the invasion was going to happen. So would more countries have been involved in that knowledge? I guess so. I wouldn't have been surprised that China wouldn't have known. It's nothing new there. It's just reporting on it for the sake of it, by sounds of it. Now, he said, Washington was watching closely to see to what extent Beijing provided economic or material support to Russia and would impose consequences if that occurred. I'd expect the US to impose consequences if that did occur, to be fair. We are communicating directly private to Beijing that there will be absolutely consequences for large-scale sanctions, evasions, efforts, or support to Russia to backfill them. I think this probably is going to go that way. It's going to come out that China, in some way, shape, or form, has probably helped Russia out, be it in the planning stage or concurrently to the war going on now. They might actually be funding them with munitions, or weapon systems, or money to be able to do different things. He also says, we will not allow that to go forward and allow there to be a lifeline to Russia from these economic sanctions from any country, anywhere in the world. So they're laying the law down there, say, listen, you are either with us or you with them. If you're with them, sanctions will be imposed. And why not? It's how it should be. Alexandru Ciobanu, apologies if I haven't read that correctly, but you're saying gas is $2 per litre in Romania. Is that expensive for Romania then? I'm going to take a guess that that's pretty expensive over there in terms of equivalent. I know they haven't got a massive economy. A senior Biden administration office official said the war in Ukraine and its impact on regional and global security would be a significant topic during Sullivan's meeting with Yang, given China moves to align itself with Russia to advance their own vision of the world order. The meeting, which had been in planning for some time, is part of a broader effort by Washington and Beijing to maintain open channels of communication and manage competition between the world's two largest economies. Hey, Veronica, good to see you back here, buddy. Drop a comment with your super chat. Thank you for that. That's very kind of you. Good to see you here, man. US White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, there he is. No specific outcomes were expected, the source added, speaking on condition of anonymity. Wang Yiu, head of Beijing think tank and advisor to Chinese government, warned of an escalatory spiral in a column published in the New York Times on Sunday, and said China was uniquely positioned to act as a neutral mediator between a Western-supported Ukraine and Russia to end the war. Yeah, so China has to support neutrally. Yeah, they're in a position to be able to do the right thing here, is the way it sounds. Unpalatable as some in the West may find the idea, it is time to offer the Russian leader an off-ramp with China's help, Wang wrote. Don't know if I agree with that. The United States on Saturday said it would rush up to $200 million worth of additional weapons to Ukrainian forces as they try to defend against Russian shelling in the largest war in Europe since World War II. That statistic alone is frightening. We should be gone of those days. Gone should be those days. We shouldn't be seeing statistics like that when the war to end all wars occurred. We shouldn't be seeing this. Washington and its allies have imposed sweeping, unprecedented sanctions against Russia and banned its energy imports while providing billions of dollars of military and humanitarian assistance to Ukraine. Individually and together, they will have appealed to China, Gulf nations, and others that have failed to condemn the Russian invasion to join in isolating Russia from the global economy. I mean, they're not just isolated from Europe or the East, the West. They've been globally sanctioned heavily. There's no way to survive that. But if you put a dog in a situation where there's literally nowhere to go from there, is that dog ready to just bite and go all out? To just go crazy on the whole situation? You know, it makes me wonder how he's going to actually react. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, what's his response going to be if he's got no other way out? If there's no healthy way out for him, does he go out with a bang? If that makes sense. That's one thing to consider, guys. The intention of this man, when pushed, what's he capable of? If you corner him, if there's no way out, all doors is locked, you know, does he just go all in? I think he potentially does. Hey, J340 with the super chat, you're saying what's crazy is after the fall of the Soviet Union, Putin and the infant Russia tried to join the EU and NATO. They were told no. Now is that true? Why? Why is that? Do we need a global bad guy? Have we thought about that? Do we need a global bad guy? Do we need a global bad guy? In the world that we live in at this moment in time, do we need a global bad guy? We seem to have had a global bad guy throughout every generation. French President Emmanuel Macron, he also expressed concern about the impact of sanctions on global finance, energy supplies, transportation and supply chains. Amid growing signs, the Western sanctions are limiting China's ability to buy Russian oil. However, former editor-in-chief of the state-backed Chinese Global Times newspaper said on Twitter, if Sullivan thinks he can persuade China to participate in sanctions against Russia, he will be disappointed. Yeah, I don't think China would do that. It doesn't make sense for them to do that, given the relationship that they've got. While in Rome, Sullivan will also meet with, I'm not going to pronounce that, the diplomatic advisor to Italian Prime Minister Mario, to continue coordinating the strong global response to Russian President Vladimir Putin's war of choice. Well, that's that on there. Right, so Russia begs China for weapons. Okay. Right, let's have a look at this map again. I want to see what's going on around here. Thanks for the questions, by the way, troops. There's some fantastic stuff coming in. Hey, Veronica Chandler with the super chat. Thank you. You're saying, what do you think about Russians' circle forming near Odessa? I think he's after the trade routes and the Black Sea. That's a very good question, Veronica, actually. Let's have a look at that on the map now. Let's change this scene to that one. Let's have a look at that. So, controlling, now this is a statistic that was thrown out last week, so don't quote me on it, this is just third-hand information. By Putin controlling those specific trade routes and the Black Sea, he controls, is it 70% of, if he controls that, he gets 70% of the revenue generated from that trade, if he controls most of that. I mean, in terms of the revenue that can be generated, it could be astronomical. But whether or not sanctions that get imposed on this will allow for that to happen anyway, it makes you wonder, well, what's the actual point of him doing that if the restrictions bound upon him limit him doing so, limit him making money from it. But that was spoken a lot last week, actually, Veronica. That's a good question. Thank you. Unigamer, thank you with the super chat, buddy. You're on fire tonight. You're saying NATO has guidelines for new members. Russia refused to agree to them. Yeah. Actually, no. I do remember that coming out. I have read a bit on that before. It was actually a point blank refusal as well, if I remember correctly. They didn't want to meet the guidelines, which you've got to have guidelines and regulations and a to-do list, so to speak. And if you don't want to agree to it, then you can't be part of the club. It's like it goes with everything, really, doesn't it? Also, all NATO members must agree to new members. And many new NATO members joined specifically to escape Russian aggression. Yeah, would it help the situation if Russia was part of NATO? I mean, imagine having a dodgy member. How hard would that be of a strain on NATO itself? Yeah, I don't see that going. I'm trying to think how that would have went had they joined. I don't see every NATO member agreeing in the first place, to be fair. I don't see that happening. Thank you for your super chat, buddy. Alexandru Ciobano, again, thank you. You're saying NATO can't go in member wars. Imagine Russia in NATO. Well, yeah, we've just spoken about that, haven't we? Thank you for your super chats, guys. The questions are coming in thick and fast. I appreciate them very, very much. Right, let's have a look at this. 6 hours ago, we've got a Russian military column entered Lazerne village in Kherson region. What's happening? Right, that's nothing going on there. That was a video, but it's not. 23 minutes ago. Whoa, this is big. This is big, guys. Operational information from the General Staff in the South Bug direction. Russian army is trying to gain a foothold in the areas of Tomina Balka. Right, so that's happening now. Operational information. That's happening now. Actually, we can see that they've nearly got control here. They're going to circle this off. So if we can see here, got big fighting happening there. This Russian military column entered. So that column, this is what's going to happen straight away, guys. Bang, bang. Once they've got that column formed there, all of this is territory then. And then what they'll do is they'll just push on across and they'll do the same thing, box it off, box it off, box it off. This area is probably going to fall very, very soon in that respect. You can see it happening. That's what they're doing. They've done that throughout the whole of the Ukraine. These areas that they're fighting over are falling, actually, guys. You see this here? See this? That's nearly boxed off. Once that gets boxed off, this will be boxed off. And then this area will all be taken. There's a lot of area actually being taken here, guys, from the last time we've looked at this. So Ukraine might be pushing. But once, can you see what's happening as well? They're surrounding the areas. Completely surrounding. Once they've got this, the middle bit will be pretty easy to take, I think. They'll starve the Ukrainians' supply chain off. That's what's going to happen, really. You can see this happening. It's sad, man. It is sad to see. So busy here. This is likely to fall pretty soon. 10 hours ago, Russian troops dispersed protesters blocking the way for their convoy with live ammunition. Right, let's watch this. I need to see what the sound is like.
Отошли. Ты посмотри. Смотри, что творят. Ушли. Стрелять начали.
Вы пришли в чужую...
Валите отсюда! Валите! Твари, вы поняли? Все.
Все! Они проедут в любом... Что вы...
Стоптаны, носки не... Уроды, блядь! Совести, блядь, у вас нет!
I mean, they've got balls of steel, really, for getting involved. You know? We've got a few super chats come through, actually. Hey, Vanilla Gorilla. That's a cool name. Thank you for your super chat. You're saying, what do you think about untrained civilians volunteering to fight? I'm afraid they're just going to get in the way. Untrained civilians are, pardon for saying this, really, really naive and stupid for getting involved. The volunteers, those with no experience, I guarantee the demographic of those individuals who are volunteering fall into a category of young, egotistical, impressionable males full of testosterone and got something to prove in life, and unfortunately they're going to be used for something which they are quite literally going to fail in because they're untrained and naive to the situation, the perils of war, and more likely will crumble in the first instant they get involved in. It's not a game, and unfortunately they've been led to believe that it is. So I think the untrained civilians are courageous, the ones that are from Ukraine who are fighting on their own land. I have nothing but admiration for them. But it's a different story for them than it is for volunteers coming from overseas who are untrained. I think, good on you fighting on your own doorstep and getting the weapon systems and trying to fight for your land. You're fighting for your life, aren't you? But if you're volunteering to go there from another country without any real understanding of war, then you're very naive and you're in for a rude awakening, okay? You're not going to be able to do anything with a trained soldier, especially a Russian trained soldier. I mean, come on, we need to be realistic about this, guys. Thank you for your super chat. Michael Flanagan, you're saying, have you heard about the Russian soldier who was tracked and killed because he used a Ukrainian SIM card? No. Let's look at this.
Okay, guys, big news.
Right, so that's a video. I don't want to go on to that. Right, I'm gonna go on to this one. Russian military phone calls hacked after own soldiers destroy 3G tower. I don't think this is what you're talking about. Russian forces in Ukraine have been hacked after abandoning their own secure encrypted phone systems, according to investigative journalism organization Bellingcat. The switch to insecure messages meant that a conversation revealing the death of Major General Vitaly, Chief of Staff, blah, 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 was able to be intercepted by Ukrainian intelligence. Russian soldiers have switched off their encrypted phone systems after towers were destroyed and are using normal phones with SIM cards, according to Bellingcat, an open-source investigative journalism organization. Bellingcat's executive director, Grozev, said in a series of tweets, the idiots tried to use the error cryptophones in Krakow after destroying many 3G cell towers and also replacing others with Stingrays. Eras needed 3G, 4G to communicate. You can't believe this, can you? In the phone call in which the FSB officer assigned to the 41st Army reports the death to boss in Tula, he says they've lost all secure communications. Thus, the phone call using local SIM cards. Right, so yeah, that is pretty crazy. So not just Russian soldiers now using that as a result. That's crazy, guys. Thank you for your super chat, Doug McCool. You're saying, absolutely, I'm extremely impressed with the average Ukrainian citizen during all this. Bless all them, and hopefully Russia allows their sons to come home and stop this. I agree, guys. You know, we get the term like Russian sympathizer and stuff like that thrown about too easily without really understanding war. On both sides, we have innocent men fighting for individuals at the top who are not necessarily innocent with their own actions. But be rest assured, the troops on the ground fighting on both sides. One side is doing wrong, one side is fighting against that wrong, but the individuals at the very bottom fighting on both sides are the true innocent people in this, and the families at home. I mean, we need to think about this, okay? As we sleep at night, there's individuals right now who are experiencing their sons and daughters being killed in war right now on both sides. Right now. All right, they're burying their dead. Some of them won't be able to bury them. There'll be nothing left of some of them. That's the realist. That's been real. It doesn't matter if you're on the good side or bad side. You'll still feel the same with the loss of a loved one. That's why we need to really understand this. You'll still feel the same. You know, you don't just wake up and be like, of your understanding is that, oh, I'm on the bad side. Think of that. All right, the bad side has to be portrayed, and do you know what I mean? You don't just wake up and be like, oh yeah, we're the good side, or they're the bad side. They're not waking up thinking that. That's where this gets interesting. This is where it gets interesting, guys. We always turn a little bit moralistic in terms of how we think with this. Cyberby, thank you for your super chat. You're saying there's more reasons for this invasion than we know. I agree. Also more reasons than we probably can talk about, to be fair. It's just the way the world is. You know? It's just the way the world is, guys. We're coming up 5 to 12 here in the UK. We've got nearly 600 concurrent viewers. Troops, I just want to say thank you for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. If you're brand new to the channel, double check that you're subscribed. Double check that you've got all of the notifications turned on so you get notified every time we go live. And make sure if you do anything today before you go, do it right now. Hit the like button, troops. It's the easiest thing you can do, and it costs you nothing. All right. Don't be fooled in thinking that the like button doesn't really do anything. It does. It changes everything with the video. Trust me. Some people watch videos and go, how did that get so many views? Well, have a look at the likes. I guarantee you the likes will be through the roof. And that's what you can do. If you want to help a creator out, that's the thing that you can do is like the video, troops. If you want to become a member, like our wonderful friend Captain Third Leg has just done, welcome to the club, brother. I look forward to speaking to you post live stream in community posts orientated around the members only. Then the link to that is in the description, or you can find it in this chat, pinned to the top. Just click on it or press the join button. But Captain Third Leg, you are the second member of the stream, guys. I think we're going to go for 10 tonight. So who's going to be the other 8? Who's going to be the other 8? We've got a few people here who I'm looking at, who we've been speaking to, I think are pretty good contenders for the club. I'd like to have the club booming, guys, okay? I want to see everyone's name in the chat green with a logo next to the name. Vanilla Gorilla again with a super chat. Thank you. You're saying Russia has always had horrible logistics and poorly maintained gear. We captured quite a lot of it in Bosnia. I doubt China is much better. Russia has always had horrible logistics. You know, Vanilla, you're saying something that we've spoken about quite a lot on here. It's actually been one of the main topics of debate, to be fair, is talking about how poor Russia's logistics has been since... I mean, we can even go further back than, you know, World War II and stuff, and we can go right back. They've been notorious with having poor logistics. Now, my reason's this: they've got the infrastructure to not have poor logistics. We've got the they've got the money, they've got the understanding, the military prowess to be able to have good logistics. The fact that they constantly have bad logistics tells me that there's a major problem at the very top of command, all the way up to how the country's actually led. You know, logistics is a fine one because you've got military individuals who have to be very professional, but you have to have good people planning at the top, and then the people at the bottom have to be able to have the trust and understanding and want to listen to that plan to follow it through. So America and Britain and France and Germany, we all get this quite right. Britain logistics is fantastic, you know, based off years and years of good leadership. Agree with the leaders or not, but we've had good leadership militarily to be able to do the right thing. That's why logistics have been on point. Logistics gets a bad ride in the military, especially in the Royal Marines and in the Army, and it will do in America and other places as well. But we've seen so many times when it doesn't work, nothing works. So it's extremely important that logistics works in any military sense, okay? Hey, Heather Ninox, thank you for the super chat. You're saying, do you know of a tactic that the Ukrainians could use against the box-in strategy that Russians seem to use? Thanks for doing this. Oh, that's a great question. Let's have a look at the map. So the box-in... unless you heavily fortify the areas with guerrilla-style individuals, the military alone is not enough to be able to counter that. You need to have every home armed with individuals pepper-shotting people. So it would just be overwhelm the area from within with individuals who could act as insurgents, who could act as guerrilla warfare individuals. You know, that's one thing I would say, is overwhelming the area to prohibit the movement of these individuals. Or it's all about prohibiting movement. How do you prohibit movement? You get the shots down, but that costs a lot of money, a lot of infrastructure, a lot of weaponry, a lot of munitions. It's easier said than done. You'd have to flood the area, literally flood the area with weaponry, and people willing to use that weapon system, because they become a target as well. So that's a great question, that, Heathen. Thank you. Hey, Johnny E, you are the third member. Welcome to Gen Dip Members Club, brother. Thank you for joining the channel as a club member. I appreciate you, as do everyone else. I'm sure the members will make you feel very welcome when we eventually have a community members only post. Hoping to get one out after this, actually, guys. So welcome, Johnny E. Who's going to be number 4? Boom. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, Victor Grill, thank you also for moderating the chat, brother. I appreciate it, man. And Donna Backer as well. Thank you, dude. Zypher Death, I've spoke to you before. Welcome back to the channel, brother. Thank you for your super chat. You're saying, India shot a supersonic missile without warhead into Pakistan. India says it was a technical error during maintenance, but is it that it is just misfire a missile, not during test? I think it's easy for them to say it is a test, Why are they testing, though? Why are they testing their missile systems when they're not during a test phase? That doesn't make sense to me, that. Without a warhead as well. So, I mean, yeah, it kind of makes a bit of sense. You know? Kind of makes a little bit of sense. So, yeah, we're talking about this boxing tactic. You can see the boxing tactics happening all over the place. A lot of casualties, but it's been very effective. I'm surprised at how much land they've taken. Not as much to this region near Boriskava. Let's have a look here. What we got? 9 hours ago, Russian troops have blown up unexploded ordnance at a territory nuclear plant. "22 minutes ago. Wow. Operational information from the General Staff in the Donetsk and Tavria directions. Russian army fighting with certain forces in the area of the settlement of Borova." So the main assaults seem to be happening now. We've seen a lot happening in the past 30 minutes. Look, operational information. Loads of these operational information posts. We're going to get through these actually, because things are getting moving quick. Hey, J340, thank you for the super chat. You're saying the Ukrainians remind me of the US, in that Americans would rather die on their feet than live on their knees. Like, all politics aside, that's why Americans are in love with the Ukrainians. Yeah, I mean, the Americans are known for that throughout their time in different conflicts around the world. I'm guessing the parents of those individuals lost would prefer them not to be that way, but it is the way it is. Ukrainians are a solid people. The Russians are a solid people as well. They're the same people, really. They just, share a border that's contested politically at the moment in time. But many Ukrainians will have family in Russia. That's the facts of it. John Conrad, welcome to the Gendit Members Club, brother. It's good to have you as our 4th member of the stream. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. I look forward to speaking to you very soon, my friend. Thank you. Michael Flanagan, again with the super chat. You're saying, any updates on why exactly Russia is having the logistical issues it is? Negligence or bad planning? And what's the plan annexation of NATO out of the area? So, I mean, this is just my opinion, and I've spoke quite freely on this. I think logistical issues that we're seeing is down to both of the things that you've said, both negligence and bad planning. I think we're seeing negligence in terms of the leadership above the guys who are operating. I mean, negligence at all levels. I'm just trying to take it back to my time in the military. Even if it wasn't in the plan, in the orders phase, to make sure weapon systems are fully ammoed up, cleaned, ready to go. Kit and equipment ready to go. Radios serviced and ready to go. Vehicles fully fueled. Spare fuel on the back. Water fully bombed up. All of these things. You don't have to be told this in the planning stage. Although it does happen in service support stage by the troop sergeants and all of that kind of stuff. Even if it wasn't, as a professional soldier, at the very bottom, you would ensure that these things are taken care of anyway. These are the things that you do as a soldier. You take care of business. That's the thing that gets me, is why aren't they doing that at the very bottom? You don't have to be told. So let's forget about the leadership being terrible at the top and the planning phase being absolutely diabolical, which clearly in that respect it is for the logistics. The soldiers at the very bottom are not showing how professional they allegedly are. In fact, they're showing us how unprofessional they are. It's not just, the military is not just about putting a magazine on a weapon system and pressing that shooter. Alright? It's not about pulling the trigger. It's about the little things that make you a professional soldier. Is your kit looked after? Do you polish your boots every day? Why? So it maintains the boot leather so that you can utilize that boot for longer periods of time. You can sustain yourself further. It's the little things like that. You know, it's the little things. Have you got enough ammunition to see yourselves through? That's why the Marines, Royal Marines, carry a lot of weight. Why? Because we want to be able to self-sustain for long periods of time behind enemy lines. You know? That's why you're carrying that extra weight. Why? So you can go a little bit further for a little bit longer. You know? It's being professional. It's holding your weapon system properly at all times. Why? Because if someone's watching you and you're carrying it like a handbag, then guess what? You're going to be the first to be taken out. Weak. Only the strong survive in the military. And that's why we're seeing a lot of casualties. There doesn't have to be a lot of casualties. Alright? It's about the professionalism of the outfit. That's one thing I would give my organisation, the Royal Marines Commandos, a lot of credit for. Very, very professional from the bottom up. Not necessarily the top down, from the bottom up. A Royal Marine at the very bottom is bloody capable. Very, very capable indeed. Very, very professional indeed. That's the thing that I'm proud of. That's why I felt safe in that organisation, because I knew the person left and right of me has met the same standard. And the level of trust was there in that respect. So yeah. Let's have a look at this then on here. Because a lot of operational information. In fact, let's refresh this. There's a lot of operational information coming in, and I want to know. Right, okay. Red alert, aerial threat, sirens sounding, take cover. President Zelensky said that Russia suffered more losses during the war in Ukraine than during the 2 wars in Chechnya. Russian army shelled NATO leaders are discussing holding an extraordinary meeting in Brussels late next week, according to US and foreign officials that President Biden and other heads of state would attend. Planning these officials' note is not yet right. So there's Brussels, yeah, that's that probably, right? No, Slovakia expels their Russian diplomats. It's about time. Operational information from General Staff in the South Bug direction. A Russian army is trying to gain a foothold in the area of right. Yeah, so we've got a lot of operational fighting going on here, and they're closing in pretty quick. It's scary times, man. Let's have a look at Russia. What's happening in Russia? Right, so this is from the other side. Let's have a look at what it says from the other side of Russia. This will be interesting. Hey, John No, thank you very much for your super chat. You're saying, what type of military assistance do you see China giving Russia / troops? If so, why or why not? Sorry if you have answered this question already, got on late. Not a problem, John. No, we haven't really touched on that, to be fair. In short, it's all a matter of time. So we've got the short, mid, and long term. In the immediate time frame, I don't see any obvious military assistance at all, due to the fact that the sanctions that will get imposed, and is already stated by the US mainly that heavy sanctions will be imposed if they do get found supporting them. So immediately, nothing. Midterm, I think it will come out potentially that they're just going to be doing it anyway, just a little bit sneaky. Long term, it probably ends up, if it goes down that route, if this war continues long term, I think, yeah, they get involved with they're going to have to. Logistically, Russia haven't really got a massive capability, or if they have got a massive capability, logistically, they don't ever seem to pull it off properly. So they're going to have some help from someone somewhere down the line, and the only obvious partner in crime that they've got at this moment in time is China. Some people would argue India, but India's not going to get involved at all. All right, we can we can argue that back and forth. India would not risk it. It's just not feasible. Right? They haven't shown. They just wouldn't do it, in my opinion. Although they're close. Right. So from the Russian side, that's literally. It's just showing us. It's not showing us anything different. Actually, what does this say? United Nations will allocate another 40 million to respond to the humanitarian needs. It sounds like a lot of money, guys, but it's not. When you respond to humanitarian issues. Alright, there you go. But, yeah. I wanted to actually comment on this. This is something I wanted to comment on, guys, because I didn't miss it last week, but I didn't want to hit on it straight away. Major General Andre reportedly being killed in the conflict so far. He's on the Russian side, this guy here. So he's a high-ranking Russian general. Was the first senior figure confirmed to have been killed during fighting in Ukraine, in what experts said would be a bitter blow for Mr. Putin. He was the commanding general of the Russian 7th Airborne Division and the deputy commander of the 41st Combined Army Arms Army. A military source said he'd been killed by a sniper. Blimey. To be killed by a sniper, he's right out on the front line, which is testament in a way to the courageousness of these high-ranking individuals. I wouldn't have expected that. Zypher Death, thank you for the super chat. You're saying the talk is that it was shot to check a Pakistani air defense system. Also, you're in reference to the Indian missile system, air defense system, and said not to buy Chinese jets. The missile was 30 to 40 kilometers away from 2 Pakistani air bases, and the villagers found about the incident and told the army. Okay, so they said that was a failure. Vanilla Gorilla, thank you. You're saying, I live on an island in Guam. We're waiting for China to kick off on Taiwan. There's TH-88D missiles, batteries, and a couple miles from my house. Wow. You live on the island of Guam. Are you ex-military then? I'm guessing you're ex-military, yeah? Or family of military. Island of Guam. Where is this? Micronesia, the Western Pacific. Wow, that's pretty amazing. That's where you live. Wow, dude, that's cool. Okay, so that's pretty impressive that we've got someone who's watching from there. That is, wow, I'm humbled by that, actually, that someone is watching from there. I find that pretty amazing. Wow, that's cool, man. Yeah, I don't know. That's took me by surprise, that. That's pretty cool. So this man's, that Major General, his death, which was confirmed by a local officers' organization in the Krasnodar region in southern Russia, was seen as another sign Mr. Putin's war effort is not going to plan. He also took part in Russia's military campaign in Syria. So this dude's a pretty big deal. Ukraine's defense ministry said Vitaly, first deputy commander of Russia's 41st Army, was killed on Monday. He would be the second Russian major general killed since the invasion began, but Moscow Defense Ministry has not yet to confirm his death. Maybe it's because it would lower the morale of the Russian people. He had fought with Russian forces in Syria and Chechnya and had taken part in the siege of Crimea in 2014. Top dog. Ukraine armed forces said on Friday that he had become the third Russian major general to be killed in the war. These some big guys, man, getting killed. Served as commander of the 29th Combined Arms Army of the Eastern Military District, having only been promoted in December. He had previously been a lieutenant colonel and chief of staff in the 4th Guards Tank Division, personnel of which were involved in Kosovo in the Second Chechen War. Lieutenant Colonel Glevin was killed near the city of Kotraj. He was serving as deputy commander of the 11th Separate Airborne Assault Brigade. These are top people being wiped out, man. News of his death was shared on Instagram by a Russian politician during a special military operation to protect the Donetsk and Republic. Wow. Said to be the right-hand man of Chechen strongman, is also reported being killed during fighting. What time are we on? 1:15 midnight. 500 viewers. Okay, troops. So I think we're gonna wrap it up there. Actually, we're gonna have Johnny. You did super chatted. It could take time. Yeah, sometimes they do. Give it a few moments, but it should, if you've done it correctly. It should come up, buddy. But I've done that myself in chats before, and it actually wasn't. I didn't do it properly. Zypher Death, thank you. You're saying, by the way, India is finalising payment systems for Russian trade after the sanctions. How we get 25 to 27% off oil while Beijing paying the good guy and asking India to let be passed like we would forget our. Thank you for that, Zypher. The Master C. The Master C. Thank you for your super chat. You're saying he said he served from 83 to 05 US Marines. Mr. Vanilla. US Marines, well, thank you for your service, brother. I appreciate that, man. Let's change scene. So it's 20 past midnight here. Troops, if you could hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it. And if you've got any other questions coming in, we'll pick them up and we can get a chat on that. And yeah, any last super chats that'll come in, I will endeavour to answer them before I log off. That's the most important thing, really, is that we get those questions answered. 728 likes. I appreciate you guys. Apologies, I haven't been able to get on for a few days, but you know, it's life. That's the way things go. A little bit of an update. I am doing out creating a podcast studio, so to speak. I can't wait to showcase that with you guys, because at the moment I'm in a room. I've got bigger plans of where I want to do with this type of content, so visually it'll be a lot more pleasing to the eye, so to speak. A lot more pleasing to the eye, actually, and I think it'll be pretty cool. So I look forward to changing this whole scene up very, very soon. Yeah, I know you guys are going to like the podcast studio, but if you haven't checked out the other channels that I've got, if you go into the About bit on my YouTube, on this page, if you go into the channels bit or whatever, you'll see you'll see my other channels. It's The Explain Show, Bushcraft Commandos, what else have we got? Just Boxing, Going to be a mint podcast. That really going to enjoy that podcast. So yeah, go check these things out, guys, because we're only going to get bigger and bigger on YouTube in terms of the production quality. This is nothing. We're gonna get some proper good content out to you guys on a massive basis. So look forward to that. Hey, Lord Dan 765, you're saying China v Taiwan. What responses do you expect? I actually expected it to escalate last week. The fact that it hasn't gives me a little bit more patience to believe that might not actually simmer over and happen as of yet. Yeah, again, day by day things change, so that changes my opinion. I'm quite receptive of information, but at this moment in time, how I honestly feel, China v Taiwan is I'm not really thinking about it that much. I haven't really got that much reason to think that it's going to happen this week. It didn't happen last week when I thought it was going to, so hey, maybe it will because I don't. Thank you for that. Zypher Death, thank you for your super chat. You're saying, when will we have India, Pakistan, China, Taiwan talk? I keep on saying tomorrow and it never happens, so I'm not going to say tomorrow, and if it does happen tomorrow, we'll see you there. But if there's no other questions, troops, I'm going to answer one by Don Backer. Dit Commando got the next stream scheduled, so Tuesday tomorrow. I'm going to actually try and get a stream in every day this week if I can. I'm going to try and get one in every day this week because there's a lot of changes happening actually. So yeah, look forward to that, guys. If you're brand new here, make sure you stay tuned. But I'm going to try and get a stream in every single week. I think this week really needs to have it. So yeah. Hey, troops, I appreciate it. If you can smash that like button, the last thing you do on here, I just want to say thank you all for stopping by. I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you for supporting the channel. And whatever you're doing, stay safe. If you can stay safe, try your very best to, okay? But if you're watching from anywhere near the Ukraine or in the Ukraine or wherever, just have your mind and your thoughts and prayers for Ukraine troops, all right? It's they need it, man. Hey, Lorena Leon, that's a very nice name. Thank you for your super chat. You're saying, I'm of Cuban descent and I still have family in Cuba. I live in the US. My cousins are conscripts in Cuba and there are talks of sending Cuban conscripts to Russia, which they are not happy with. By the way, I love your work. I appreciate that. Thank you, Lorena. Wow, I can't believe they're even considering sending Cuban conscripts to Russia. They'll ultimately be sending them to... I don't even want to say it. It's yeah, that's not good. I don't think that'll materialize, partially because I hope it doesn't materialize. Surely those conscripts will be blocked from going from Cuba, as opposed to wait until they get to Russia if the sanctions kind of go the way they're going to go from the US. I don't know. Thank you for that. Hopefully they don't go there, Lorena. That's a pretty cool descent to come from, old Cuba. Well, thank you very much. I think Lorena has the final super chat of the night. Troops, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. I can't really say any more than that. I'll be in the chat picking up any other questions and stuff like that after this. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you very soon. Peace out.